You're not on the field, court, or ice. You're on the couch. From DG to DC, this is Coaching from the Couch with your host, C. Wall, delivering coverage for all DC sports teams from the hometown perspective. Nats, Skins, Mystics, DC United, Washington Wizards, Caps, Bowie State.
My name's C-Wall, I'm a PG girl. Down for my skins, I don't know if you heard. If you like watching sports, then I am your girl. Sit down on the couch if you not on the field. Cold on the ice, picking any sport that you want. Know that I cover it tight. What would you like? From baseball to football and more. The list can go on the whole night. Big shouts out to my HBCU fam. Never forget who I am through the wins and the losses, the highs and the lows. We gotta stay strong, so I stay 10 toes. Make the competition back. The way I kick it, make them mad, man. See all that we live and direct. Sit back on the couch and relax. Come on.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Coaching from the Couch. This is your Washington Commanders update, and I am your host, Seawall, checking in to say, hey, hello, let's talk. Let's talk. This is the Washington Commanders update, you all, and it is my pleasure to just give you all the rundown and the updates of all things that transpired over the weekend, or I guess I should just say Sunday, with the Commanders' loss to the Dallas Cowboys down in Arlington, Texas. I see you all are already jumping in and saying hello, and of course, I will be greeting you all. You know, we got to go through our public service announcements is what I like to call it. And it's already given people a heads up that I may go over. So we'll have to work through that when the time comes. But I have to remind everyone that this is a live Bowie television recording. Seawall Sports is in a partnership with Bowie Television. And we just love to bring you all the best of the best. We hope you all believe that it's the best of the best in terms of coverage in the DMV in sports. And so this show is dedicated solely to the Washington Commanders. So have you all checked in? Have you checked in? I feel like I saw some names. I think I saw a DJ checked in. Of course, Mazdak. I saw Ron Blackwell, Cameron Mingo, Dave Thomas, Eric Jessup. I believe folks are already saying hello to the queen herself, Mama Waller. Is the queen, has everyone said hello to the queen? I've seen the First String podcast family check-in from YouTube. And remember, I started sharing with you all last week that a little birdie told me that Papa Waller, my father, watches as well. He just doesn't say anything. So he may watch on time, he may watch later, but say hello to my father too as well, you guys. Listen, tag in your Washington Commanders loving, if they still love them, you know, but it's okay. Washington Commanders watching. Let's say that. Washington Commanders watching. Family and friends, tag them into the conversation, share the show with them. Of course, all of the conversations that we can get to, questions and comments, we will share them on the screen if we're able to get to them. Make sure you're hitting the love button as well, you all, so I know that you are absolutely in the building. I would already play, and I think I see Frank Smith Jr. checking in as well. I think I would play What's Your One Word, but we're not going to play that. We're not going to play What's Your One Word. Here's why we're not going to play What's Your One Word. Because I could probably guess a few of your one words. Okay? So we're not going to ask questions that we already know the answer to. But what we are going to do, okay, is play the video by Darrell Owens, Bowie TV photographer and videographer that works with me covering the Commanders. We're going to play the video that Darrell put together, and this is what we're going to do. This video is a compilation of all of or some of the pictures that Darrell, we've posted some on the Seawall page, in the Bowie TV Sports page. Make sure you're following if you aren't already on Twitter and on Instagram. Darrell has posted them as well, so we have some pictures there. And we'll show a piece of Carson Wentz press conference as well as Coach Rivera's presser as well. Okay, so with that being said, it's about 8 minutes long. And instead of playing What's Your One Word, what we'll do is, as we're going through the video, I want you all to comment in the chat what you want to talk about specific to what's being shared in the video. Now, I'm going to make a decision right now whether or not I'm going to still be on the screen while the video is going. That means I have to probably fix my face in a lot of occurrences during the video, or not. And so I'll be taking some notes. We'll make a decision on whether or not you guys think I should stay on camera while this 8-minute video is playing. Either way, I'll be taking my notes. And make sure you all are hitting this love button as you all check in, okay? So are you all ready? We got to get into the recap. Like I said, it's about 8 minutes. Make sure you're dropping in the chat exactly what you want to discuss based on what's being said in the video. I'm going to be here taking notes as we move along in the video. And we're going to go from there. I feel like I picked up my wrong notebook. Anyway, sorry. Now we're really being transparent on, while we're on television. All right. So let me grab that, you guys, and let's start getting right on into it. Let's pull the video file. Stay on camera or not. Because the producers are like, I don't know, whatever you want to do, Candy. So I'm like, you don't want me to answer that question. All right, you guys, let's get to it. Recap. And I see some things already coming through in the chat, and I see my little sister checking in as well. So I know people must really be hot about that game for certain. So if she checked in, we got a lot to talk about. All right, here we go. We already see Francis Sun says stay, so I'll stay.
After the game, but we had a plan coming into this game, and I thought it was a good plan, and I thought we executed some decent things early, running the ball, and I thought we kind of made a commitment to that. We kind of shot ourselves in the foot. A couple penalties, the dumb intentional grounding that I had, just a couple things that kept shooting us in the foot. And if you're going to play and run the ball and try and be effective against a really good defense, you can't do that. You can't get away with shooting yourself in the foot like that, and definitely cost us today.
Are you surprised, though, given the success of the ground game, that it did translate to more in other areas of offense?
You'd like to think. I mean, it's definitely. I thought we came out here and did a good job kind of establishing the line of scrimmage in that regard, and did some good things there. And, you'd like it to translate into a better job by me completing passes and getting the ball out and doing different things. Between the mistakes, obviously lack of execution on my part, different things like that, penalties, we just didn't make enough plays.
In terms of your execution, what are some of the areas that you're most frustrated with?
Yeah, hard to say right off the bat. Obviously the turnovers, one before half trying to make a play, that is what it is kind of, but you definitely want to leave that ball a little bit further outside to get my guy shot. Guy made a good play, but I got to be better and smarter with that. Late in the game, trying to find a way to push down the field and go find a way to score, and the guy made a good play, but just trying to be smarter in those situations. But yeah, just being consistent and execute, trying to convert third downs. It's hard to say. There's a lot of things going on out there today, but I got to be better. I got to be more consistent.
Nobody's thrilled after 2 division losses in a row. How do you keep the line, the receivers, you guys together as a group?
Yeah, I think we got to build on the positives. I think we came out today, and that's a really good defense. It's a really good front. Hats off to them. But I thought the way we kind of established the line of scrimmage a little bit early on, I think there's things we can build on. I think try not to think the sky's falling or the world's ending or anything crazy. Like what do we do well? How do we build on those? And we got to clean up the small mistakes, the details. That in a game like this, they come back to bite you pretty quick.
You guys had obviously some success against Jacksonville, and then the second half against Detroit. But our defense is doing something different the last few weeks for you guys with the passing game.
I don't think so. Every team's different. It's a new game every single week. They got good players over there too. And it's hard to say exactly what they did. From my vantage point, it looked like they did their thing. They did what we expected them to do, and they just made more plays than us, out-executed us. And Hats off to them.
So you all, I think that was the correct. We got to talk about Carson. We absolutely had to talk about Carson. I absolutely want to try to find, I got to pull Ron's presser. I absolutely have to pull that. And we're going to be talking as you all are doing this. This was definitely, and let me see if I can get it, you guys, because I gotta, it was some things that Ron shared. And I want to make sure, I gotta see if this is it. I don't think it is. That's Jahan. I have to talk. We gotta talk about it. We have to talk about it. I can't get it out of my head. And the reason why I can't get it out of my head is I don't know. I can't get it out of my head. I'm trying to figure out what I want to say. The uniforms do look good. I saw that. They look great. And you know, you're supposed to, if you look good, you're supposed to feel good, you're supposed to play good. At least that's what Deion Sanders says all the time, and it just didn't work out that way. I want to try to find this presser with Coach Rivera, but let's just get right on into it because it's so much, and we saw a bit of this. Here's funny enough where I want to start. And so all of my compliments are going to sound backwards, but this is how I have to explain it in this way so that we can analyze it and be efficient about the game, right? So I want to kind of start with where no one is complaining or really bringing up a lot of the issues is with the defense. So with the defense, the defense held up longer than I thought they were going to, right? Then I said, here's the trick with the defense. And you all have heard me say this before many times, that one of the telltale signs whether or not you had a top tier defense is, well, how do they do against, QB1, QB2, and below? Cooper Rush, while being effective, it's QB2. So I said, okay, it's QB2. So the defense will do all right, which they did. They did okay. And if you really pay attention to what happened in that game, the Commanders still had an opportunity midway through the second half. And that was because the defense was up against a QB2 led offense. I'm just being honest. When you see the QB2 or whatever, that's when you know the defense is going to have a time. They're going to have a time. And they did. And they did enough. They absolutely did enough to win the football game. We're going to get to the offense. We already know. We already going to get there. So I want to commend the defense on that. There was something I wanted to pull regarding Ron Rivera's comment about William Jackson, right? And the pass interference calls. I really wanted to talk about that comment. And my apologies, you all, for not pulling that in advance. But we got Carson, so that's good. My thing with the pass interference, and this relates to overall penalties. You all have heard me say this before. These are issues that were seen in training camp. So if these things have not been corrected and not improved since August, because now we are in October, that's a coaching issue. Okay. And I found it so compelling. You all know I'm going to piece things together. I found it so compelling that Coach Rivera shared that he thought one of the PIs was absolutely that's a PI. Facts on facts, that's what it is. Next thing, it was, well, he thought it was something that was called hand fighting. And hand fighting is allowed. They started hand fighting. I said, okay, Ron just told on himself. Maybe it is something called hand fighting. But I want to acknowledge this comment right here that I saw come through, and that is bad technique is a coaching issue, and that's absolutely correct. You all have heard me say time and time again that I see them do things in practice that I say they're going to call around 2:30 in the afternoon Eastern time or around 1:07 p.m. Central time. They're going to call that every time on game day. You have to teach clean pass breakups. They're going to call it. They're going to call it. Okay? They're going to call it. Now, some of those hold calls or lack thereof were definitely egregious. There were some things that happened in that game that I said, oh, I even said, okay, we are in Jerry's house. We're in Jerry's house, right? But because we are in Jerry's house, I have an expectation that you have everyone prepared accordingly. You ain't gonna get them calls in Jerry's house. Not in a rivalry game. You just will not. You won't, period. Okay? You just will not. But some of it was absolutely egregious. It was bad. It really was bad. Okay? It really, truly was. But at the same token, those were not things that were indicators of the success or the demise of the Commanders. Let me be very abundantly clear, because two things can be true. The officiating can be terrible, and it could absolutely have no bearing to the outcome of the game. That was the thing that I was like, well, I can't make a really big deal out of this, because while it's egregious, it's not a determining factor. Okay? It was not. I'm not going to play that game. Not when you are smart enough to know, and you've been in this league long enough to understand that when you are in Jerry's world, you understand you are in Jerry's world, and then you prepare your team accordingly. And they were unprepared, even for the poor officiating. So I want to go back to the things that I had been mentioning to you all that I would say they're going to call that on Sunday. You could ask some of my media colleagues. They will tell you. I would always say, it's cute in practice, but they're going to call that on Sunday. That's a call on Sunday. They better go back and read the rule book, because that's PI right there. Oh, no, it's this, that. Depending on whose house you in on Sunday, that's a pass interference right there. Okay? So I was frustrated with that because, again, we're seeing this. Have been seeing it since August. Still haven't improved the technique. That's an issue for me. That's coaching. Put that in the coaching bucket. We're not putting that in the officials bucket. We're putting it in the coach bucket. All right? So my other issue goes back to, why is there an expectation to get a call? What is that about? And now let's make this plain. Because the teams that win get calls. I want to know. Why is anyone owed a call? Again, preparedness. I was disappointed to even see that anyone expected it. Like, for what? You come in here to win a football game. You already losing if you expect the ref to help you win. You've already lost. Some absolutely egregious. But the Commanders beat themselves in Arlington, Texas. They beat themselves. Even when the defense gave them opportunities, that offense came out there, they beat themselves. Now I'm going to switch. Again, talking about penalties. Most of the false starts that have happened this season have always happened with the same position group, the offensive line. Guess who always has the most false start penalties in practice? The offensive line. And I'm going to tell you, because now you're about to get leadership development strategic communicator Censor Candy Waller talking to you for a minute. Okay, this C Wall, but Candy Waller is about to creep in for a second. You want to know why I believe that this team couldn't collect themselves. You notice after a false start penalty, it was like they would just cave. They would just cave. It's because they're not held accountable when they make those mistakes in practice. They'll blow a whistle in practice and keep on playing. That doesn't happen on Sundays. Okay? When you get that false start, that penalty is going to bring it back. Every time, notice it, every time they get a false start penalty, the very next couple of plays, they just fold. They just fold. And that is because they do not understand that there are negative consequences for false start penalties. Nobody's telling them. And in an action-oriented way, they're not actually doing it on a regular basis. So on a Sunday, you like, oh, wait, we got to move back. Why we got to move back all these yards? Because they don't know. F.A. Obata didn't know that he could have picked up that block punt or block kick and ran with it. Did y'all peep that? He didn't know. He didn't know the rule. Did anybody pick up on that? Listen, I am about what you do on game day and what you do in play is what you do in practice. And when you are not held accountable in practice, you have no idea how to hold up in the heat of the moment. In reality, practice should assimilate game day, and it doesn't. This is why every time that false start penalty happens on that O-line, they move back. They can't understand what's going. They just get discombobulated. And I'm not here to depress anybody. What we do is we keep it transparent. I believe in authenticity, and I'm not going to sell wolf tickets. Anybody on here that knows me in this chat in real life knows there's one thing I don't do. I don't sell wolf tickets. And I have been saying this for the longest time. It is week 4. I am sick of seeing the O-line in these false start penalties. I'm tired of it. And then they don't know how to recover. Coaching technique from the PI perspective on the defensive side of the ball. False start penalty coaching, or at least adhering to what the negative repercussions might be on game day in practice. You work on just those 2 things. Let's be real about it now, y'all. You work on just those 2 things. You could have seen a difference in the scoreboard. Drop a love emoji or a fire emoji if you understand what I'm saying. Those 2 things right there could have been a difference in the scoreboard. Okay? Major difference. All right? Who else do I need to get? Because I already know. Because I'm done with the refs. I'm not talking about them no more. We're gonna get to Carson. And we're gonna get to Carson. I'm thinking. It's a couple things I'm thinking about. One of the things I'm thinking about, I said this yesterday in the press box. I said, I don't know about anybody else, but if it was me, and it's not, but if it were me, all I'm saying is, I don't think I'd throw it in the direction of Trayvon Diggs. If it's me, I don't think I'm throwing it his way. And I got to get back to Ron Rivera. Let me make myself a note. I got to talk about Ron. Ron is a very nice man. You all know I like Ron Rivera a lot. Okay. But let me say something. I'm not throwing it in Trayvon's direction. something is off. I said, Carson has not looked the same since the second half of the Detroit Lions game. What could have happened between the end of that game in week 3? He hasn't looked the same. What are all the things that could have transpired? Because let me tell you all something. I like Carson. I told you all that before. I like Carson. Carson is always very calm. He has a great attitude, great personality, right? And we talked a little bit last week about everybody has a tick, right? And if someone didn't watch the show last week, someone in the chat, remind everybody, if you watched the show last week, what I said about everybody's got a tick. I said, well, is this what Carson's issue is? Could it be the report about Jimmy Garoppolo has gotten under his skin? Is it a mental blocker? Is it something where he's trying to overcome it? He has a mental blocker. And I remember the Philly Commanders game, and he came out there just like all of the other players, and the crowd just started to boo. And we talked about that, and I'm not going to rehash any of that. But what I was going to say is, and I want to acknowledge this comment, because I actually had this conversation with my dad. Did we all say hello to him? Because he watches quietly. That something happened after he got injured. And oftentimes that happens to players. Something, if they just don't feel right, their legs aren't right, their athleticism just isn't what it used to be, that could impact them mentally. Publicly, the only thing that happened is this report. Carson hasn't looked the same since that second half, and we gotta. I don't know if he knows it, and I could be completely wrong, you all. But I'm also, if anyone knows me, that you know that I'm a solutions-oriented person. So when I see a problem, I'm like, okay, what are the ways to fix it? What are the ways to get through it? Because there's got to be a way to get past that. And he has been visibly different on the field, right? Since that Detroit Lions game. It's interesting. Even in that, I see comments coming through about Scott Turner. You all know I've had a field day often on this show talking about Scott Turner as well as Jack Del Rio, but I don't have nothing to say about Jack this week. So I'm like, Scott Turner was just calling a spot on game. We saw Scott Turner call plays, get the offense coming out aggressive, using all of the weapons, they were with the run game, they were using receivers and the tight ends. Everybody was getting some. Everybody, look, Terry said it one day in practice. This was in training camp. That was a really fun day. And Terry was like, everybody getting some. Everybody out here getting some. And I said, you know what? That's the mentality they need to have. On game day, everybody can out here get something. We got to take a short break, and we're going to keep going. But everybody wasn't getting some anymore. It's like the passing game has gone, it's away. And it's strange. We got to get to the bottom of that. Because he's not the same dude. I've been so intrigued by it on the plane back last night. I rewatched that second half of that Detroit Lions game, and I said, "This ain't that's not Carson. That's Carson on my little screen right here. But this is not that. Something is going on." And while we're talking about something's going on, we're going to take a quick break. And it's just me talking. It really is just me talking. I want to make sure, are you all following all of the social media pages? While we're in this partnership with Bowie Television, we also are still sharing things on all of the Seawall pages. So make sure you all are locked in and in following all of the Seawall pages, because there's a lot of information and a lot of content that we're pushing out. There's going to be even more content being pushed out here soon. And so I can't wait to share all of that with you guys. So make sure you stay locked in with Seawall Sports and Entertainment. And you all, here's something else that I've been so busy, and I just shared this with the Seawall team, and this is kind of my bad. It is the anniversary of Coaching from the Couch, the series, tomorrow on October the 4th. And I don't, hey, we're just gonna keep going, and we're grateful for all of you for watching and sharing the show, and just get involved in the conversation. So thank you all. There's still time to share this show and tag your Commanders watching family and friends in, because we're going to keep talking about this conversation. We'll get back to Carson in a minute. We're going to get back to Carson in a minute, because we're just going to keep watching Carson. I don't know. It's very strange. Now I see this comment here. Wait a minute. I see it here. Williams look like, you all have been hearing me talk about Jonathan Williams, and you all have been hearing me talk about the running back room as a whole. Okay, a very strong position group. I want to give nothing but shout out and love to Coach Randy Jordan and Coach Jennifer King for doing a phenomenal job with that group, because they are strong. They're good. And I'm sure you all have heard that Brian Robinson will be activated off of the NFI on Wednesday, and that is when the clock starts for him to see, okay, maybe he can play on Sunday. Maybe it's the following Sunday. Maybe it's the Sunday after that. But that's just a blessing in itself for Brian. And you all see, even when the game isn't going so well, how the running back core is still very strong. So yes, absolutely, with Brian Robinson, that group is going to be even stronger. Many blessings to him, and he looks great. And so it'll be an enhancement for certain. But what I shared with a few folks yesterday after the game is, I don't want this to become a, if only Brian Robinson, when Brian gets back, or when Brian gets to get out there, this will change, or when Chase gets back, things are going to change. Listen, something has transpired where it has become, okay, all of these weapons are there, and they're all not being utilized. And then even when the run game was effective against the Cowboys, they went away from it. So it's just very confusing, on top of the fact that I know that many of you are frustrated with the offensive line. I know that I am, but it also is coupled with, Carson, what is going on? What is going on? I mean, you take that second half of the Detroit Lions game and you put that in the first half, or pick any half of the game against the Cowboys, and the Commanders win that game. Seriously. It was really on the offense, right? Just not being able to move. And then that leads me to my next comment, that you all are going to continue to hear me rant about this as well. You're going to continue to hear me rant about issues with penalties, especially if there are things that we saw in training camp that were issues. We are in October. It is week 4. If these things are still transpiring, they should not be transpiring anymore. If it was happening in August, it shouldn't be happening now, period. So you're going to hear me rant about that when I say it. You're also going to hear me rant about the punt returner and the kick returner. Listen, when your offense is struggling, you get one of those track stars back there that can make a move, or downfield. When your offense is struggling, when your quarterback is struggling, do what you got to do to get the best field position, and that comes from whomever your fastest players are. Your offense is struggling. Help them out. Help them at least get down the field, or at least get in field goal position. Help. Every time you got the ball, it's an opportunity to help. And I'm just not seeing movement there either. I don't know. What was working yesterday, for some reason, the team went away from that. Dotson, I want to acknowledge this guy, and Dotson, Coach Rivera has shared today. He definitely, his hamstring tightened up on him. Hopefully it's not worse than what they are thinking, but he might be out a week or two, right? And, now that folks are seeing Jahan, they got tape on Jahan. Now they're looking for him. We already know folks are on Terry, but it's just, here's the thing. I know that I said this too, and I debated on saying this out loud, but since we leverage and thrive on authenticity, I'm going to say this. Elite quarterbacks don't mind throwing the football to to their wide receiver one when one of the top corners in the league is covering them. They don't care. They're going to throw it. And even with, it was just shaky. So it's like, hey, and we're going to get back to this punt return thing, because I've had people, but hold that thought, everybody, because it's a big thing. Because I'm passionate about that topic, because they haven't done it yet. And I'm like, well, but anyway. Again, I'm not throwing it Trayvon Diggs' way. I'm just not. But that's where your progressions come from. I understand the read. But if I don't even trust, it ain't necessarily you, it's me. That's how I would think. Like, Terry, it ain't even you, brother, it's me. I'm going to try to go through my progressions that makes the most sense to get us down the field. His situational awareness is a bit off. And that's what is concerning to me. I'm concerned because there's such a difference between the second half of that Lions game and what we have seen since then. And on top of that concern, since then, his situational awareness has gotten sketchy. I don't know what those intentional groundings were about. I don't think he knows either. So it's definitely he's got to get the mental blockers out. Whatever those mental blockers may be, got to get the mental blockers out. Listen, the punt return, you have to give yourself a check. Again, and this is a situational awareness thing for even going back to coaching. If you know that if you understand and know that your team is having an issue getting down the field, then you need to put your team in the best situation to succeed. And I don't know if Dax Milne down there and kick return and punt return is your best option to succeed. That's all I'm saying. What is your best option to succeed? Okay? When you know that once your offense is in trouble, is what I'm saying. Once you are sensing and can see, okay, they having a little bit of issues here. We got to help them out. Jahan, get back there. Let's do this. And exactly right. I've been saying this. Curtis Samuel, where the track stars? Give me my track stars. Real quick, real fast. Let me get y'all out here. That's all you gotta say. That's all you gotta do. Because at some point, you have to say, yeah, I'm going to keep you out here. I'm going to keep you out here. I'm going to keep you out here. But hey, I'm going to keep you out here. But I'm also going to think strategically about what else to do to help my team be successful. Antonio Gibson return punts. Jahan Dotson return punts. You can also use Curtis Samuel at that as well. You got 3 people that other teams don't have NFL film on doing that role. Not really. They may have some on Curtis Samuel from Carolina, but still. Give it a shot. That's all I'm saying. At least try to help your team be successful when you see that they've hit a snag and are having some issues, something that can catch some fire. When a team gets a big kick return or a punt return, that jazzes everybody up. Give your team a shot to be jazzed. Give your team a shot to be excited. That's all I'm saying. Give them a shot. While the time we have left, I'm going to talk a little bit about Ron Rivera. At one point yesterday, I tweeted out, well, at what point is Ron Rivera just going to get pissed off? Like, at what point is Ron Rivera just going to lose his mind over there? Right? I was watching, when I was at the airport, I saw the last bit of the Patriots-Packers game. And I think it was, I think it was that Aaron Rodgers. I can't even remember the receiver that he threw it to, but basically it could have definitely been labeled not a catch, right, in that game. And let me tell you something. Bill Belichick was over there losing his mind. And I said, what is it going to take for Ron Rivera to just go just bonkers over there, to just say, just let it go? He's so calm. And even today, and I'm smiling because he's so calm, because even today in the press conference, he's cussing and everything on the press conference, and he's, talking about the sense of urgency. And I'm like, well, that's really nice. I smiled to myself. I wasn't on camera, kept the camera off, but I'm like, this is really nice. This is nice to hear Ron cussing. This is cute. This is really fantastic, right? This is a good moment. But when is he just going to be like, stop playing with me? Whether it's to the refs or whatever, just to show that passion of what do you like. Sometimes your players need to see you fight for them. You wanted that PI call on Terry, on Trayvon Diggs, on Terry, and that should have been a call. That was one of those egregious calls, and it should have been a call, and it wasn't. I expect you to be like, oh no, y'all not gonna put me out of this game, but we're gonna have a conversation about this, okay? You have to know what people need to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel like you got their back. And all that chilling on the sideline, that's not going to cut it. Even if you want to change the culture, you have to understand that part of changing the culture is winning. You ain't won nothing in 30 years. Nothing. So that means you are in a culture of losing because you have done something consistently for the last 30 years, and that is lose. Let's be real about it, y'all. Authenticity around here, right? You got to you gotta just be it. Be who, just, hey, I mean, and you can be chill, but also know when something is some bull crap. What? Oh, now wait a minute. You ain't gotta be cool, calm, collected all the time. Depending on the situation. I'm not saying you're supposed to flip out at everything, but some of that stuff is egregious, and you should say, wait a minute, especially when it's Terry. When it's Terry, it's the person you needed here, you wanted him here, you love Terry. Everybody loves Terry. I need you to fight for Terry. I need you to fight for all of them. Don't treat nobody any different. No favoritism at all. But I'm just saying, it needs to send a message. Okay? Jerry, you can have one of them other calls, Jerry, but you can't get this one. Come on, man. So, it was a winnable game. That is what I'm going to say. I said all of that for 45 minutes to say that was a winnable game. Because at one point when I said, well, dang, the score is only 15-10, and we're in the middle of the second half, they can still win this game. I don't know what I said that for, because all HE double hockey sticks started bringing loose, and I said, well, that's what I give a saying that out loud. Oh, well. So, listen, I was very clear, and I meant what I said, that I felt like this game would determine the rest of the season. And yes, there's 13 more games left, and yada, 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 yada. These games matter, these teams, these organizations. If you are watching at all any of these other teams play, these teams want to win every single game. They do. And I understand that it is very hard to win in professional sports. It is very hard because these people are getting paid too. Now, I agree with that. Carson always says, hey, listen, those guys getting paid too. These people are getting paid too. And in many instances, these people are friends. They're college roommates. They are godparents of each other's children. You know, they love each other. So I understand why it might get difficult to get in gang mode and beast mode when you're out there, because these are your brothers and this is family. I understand that. I completely understand that. Nobody understands that more than me. I'm going to really be real with y'all on that one. You know what I'm saying? When you got to go to war and the person you're going to war with is actually on the other side of the line, that's hard. That's difficult. But that is what you signed up for. So you got to get in the moment for 60 minutes out of your Sunday, right? But I definitely really hope, I'm serious, y'all, some of these issues and some of these things that have been seen since August have to stop. And that is on coaching. Some of those things stop, and this team has a chance. It's getting the little things right. But Ron and coaching staff have to know that they have to be held accountable and that they have to be the ones to show what winning and leadership looks like. That's what they have to do. They have to. Or else this team is in worse shape than I thought. Seriously. Listen. Y'all, we did it. We made it another week, and you all stuck it out here with your girl Seawall in Bowie Television. Listen, I appreciate y'all, and I appreciate you all coming to hear and talk and share thoughts and ideas and just commentary, because I know that was rough to watch yesterday. I know it was. Listen, you all continue to be safe and be well. Okay, you guys be safe, you be well, and I'll be talking to you guys again soon.
You're not on the field, court, or ice. You're on the couch. From DG to DC, this is Coaching from the Couch with your host, C-Wall, delivering coverage for all DC sports teams from a hometown perspective. Nats, Skins, Mystics, DC United, Washington Wizards, Caps, Bowie State.
My name's C-Wall, I'm a PG girl. Down for my skins, I don't know if you heard. If you like watching sports, then I am your girl. Sit down on the couch if you not on the field. Cold on the ice, picking any sport that you want. Know that I cover it tight. What would you like? From baseball to football and more. The list can go on the whole night. Big shouts out to my HBCU fam. Never forget who I am. Through the wins and the losses, the highs and the lows. We gotta stay strong, so I stay 10 toes. Make the competition back. The way I kick it, make them mad, man. See all that we live and direct. Sit back on the couch and relax. Come on.